I'd like to call to order the New York City Transit Committee meeting. I think we're going to start off with our safety announcements.
Your safety is of the foremost importance to the MTA. Therefore, we ask that you listen and adhere to the following instructions. If you witness an emergency, notify emergency personnel in the room and call 911 immediately. Please follow any audible instructions provided through the public address system or visually on screens in the event of an emergency. If an alarm sounds, wait for a public address announcement and follow instructions. If told to go to another floor or to evacuate the building, leave all unessential items behind and use stairwell A just across the main hallway or stairwell B down the hallway past the elevators. If you have a mobility disability or cannot self-evacuate, please proceed to stairwell D or E for assistance by MTA staff or emergency personnel. An automated external defibrillator, AED, for use by trained personnel is in the main hallway just past the elevators. If you need assistance during an evacuation, please tell an MTA staff member or emergency personnel. Thank you and have a safe day.
Thank you. I will now move on to our public speakers.
Thank you. Good morning. We have 17 members of the public register to speak today. As a reminder, we ask that all public speakers adhere to the MTA rules of conduct and decorum, including speaking on topic. I will also like to remind our public speakers that in the interest of time and fairness to all speakers, we limit everyone to 2 minutes. In the event we exceed 30 minutes of public comment, we will transition to a separate live recording session. Recorded comments will be distributed to the MTA board and posted to our board meeting webpage and YouTube channel. Please be aware that there will be a warning beep to remind you that you have 30 seconds to conclude your remarks. The first speaker will be Christopher Greif, followed by Brian Fritsch.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Christopher D. Greif. Happy holidays to all. As we're ending this year with a great days and great history of subways, things are getting accomplished with accessibility, including everything across the board. Thank you, MTA Police, NYPD. Thank you, Chiefs. And if I say chief, it means all the chiefs. As we are, and I have to say, I love this picture on the left because it looks great. The great part is, as you see here, getting things accomplished. And the reason why I say I like this picture, because what we're seeing is advocating for updating our trains, updating our buses, Accessoride, updating the stations to be fully accessible. It's not just an elevator and ramp we just need. We need the signages for people of all types of disabilities and seniors and veterans. You know, it's been a great year. And, you know, yes, there are things we still got to work on, but it takes time to work on. Just like the holiday train went excellent this year. We have officers from all divisions there. And the only thing we still got to work on, and it's not the MTA's fault. It's really our city and our Department of Mental Health and Mental Hygiene, reminding that we need to make sure that the homeless are getting the help. All types of disabilities they may have, we need to help them. As this cold weather is coming, it's cold weather is now and coming more in the months, we need to continuing the helping them out. Not just blocking staircases, elevators, or anything. We really got to remind them, we got to remind our city here that MTA is here, but we need to work together. The future of accessibility rise with us all. Happy holidays to all. Happy Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, and happy healthy to all. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Brian Fritsch, followed by Jesse Figueroa.
Good morning. I'm Brian Fritsch, Associate Director of the Permanent Citizens Advisory Committee to the MTA PCAC. What's the future of the Fair Fares program in the Mamdani administration? We believe Fair Fares can and should be a crucial tool for delivering on the mayor-elect's mandate for affordability at a time when 1 in 5 New Yorkers are struggling to pay the fare. Expanding Fair Fares complements the mayor's transit affordability agenda and can be done quickly in the first city budget, providing much-needed relief to millions of bus and subway riders, the latter being where 2/3 of taps from Fair Fares users occurred this year. This past Friday, we released a report with Riders Alliance and the Community Service Society titled Universal Affordable Transit for New York, outlining the steps to get there. We believe the program should be expanded to at least 300% of the federal poverty level to finally include workers making at or close to minimum wage. Be fully free for the lowest income New Yorkers at the current eligibility level of 150%, and add the commuter railroads and express buses as options. The program also needs automatic enrollment, as only a dismal third of New Yorkers are currently enrolled. Our expansion proposals will save over 2 million New Yorkers up to $910 per year on their transit costs, while also cutting commute times in parts of the city without subway service, and helping address MTA's fare evasion problem, just as you are about to begin testing new fare gates. Our framework charts a course towards a city where every New Yorker, irrespective of income, can move around our city affordably and with dignity on whatever mode of transit works best for them. Let's get it done. Thank you, and happy holidays.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Jesse Figueroa, followed by Mr. X.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jesse Figueroa, Transit representative of Veterans of Foreign Wars, District 1, Department of New York. As we gathered during this holiday season, I want to thank the MTA staff and leadership for keeping New York moving. Transit is more than transportation. It is connection, dignity, and equity. I urge the committee to continue prioritizing accessibility and reliability, ensuring that veterans, seniors, families, and people with disabilities can travel safely and confidently. These investments reflect the values of inclusion that define our city. Unfortunately, I missed the holiday train this year because I'm on leave in Central Florida with my family. On behalf of the veterans and families I represent, I wish you all peace, joy, and progress in the year ahead. Thank you. Happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, and happy Kwanzaa.
All right. Our next speaker is Mr. X, followed by Joseph Morales.
Within the last 2 years, I was at Fulton Street, downtown 4 and 5 trains, in which 2 male allied Universal Security Service guards approached and ejected me from the platform for no reason. And after I said knock it off, they challenged into a fight. These clowns don't work for the MTA, which stands for money thrown away. And they have the balls, the audacity to eject me from an outer Staten Island subway train station platform and then challenge into a fight after I say, knock it off. Are you serious? What kind of nonsense is that? I thought they were here to maintain law and order, but apparently they're here to maintain law and disorder. Well, Demetrius and Janet need to investigate, if they haven't done so already. And also, Court Street Station, which is now home to the Book and Transit Museum, the platform should be used by the Fulton Street local. Leaving there should run to the Queens terminals. Those subway train cars can be stored at the 12th Social Yard, which is at ground level. You can only enter and exit on 10th Avenue. This way, the ANC trains won't be delayed between Canal and Hort Streets, well, actually between Cornell Street and Lafayette Avenue.
All right, thank you. Our next speaker is Joseph Morales, followed by Alita Dupree.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joseph Morales. Can you hear me okay?
I'm a sophomore civil engineering student at Manhattan University in the Bronx. I'm also a Bronx resident. The Robert Couch Senior Center event was a great way to inform seniors about the changes that will be coming to fare payment with Omni. With that being said, events like this should continue across the city with government and community relations, and extensive outreach should be coordinated through partnerships with organizations supporting senior citizens such as RAIN and JASA, especially considering change will no longer be a method to pay for buses. It is great to see third-party elevator availability continuing to steadily rise. Initiatives that have helped to improve these numbers should continue because of how important elevators are to many riders, coupled with the fact that the number of elevators the MTA is responsible for continues to grow with unprecedented rates of accessibility projects being completed. Lastly, with the expansion of customer service centers, they should also come to Staten Island with locations at the St. George Ferry Terminal, Eltingville Transit Center, Staten Island Mall, and Port Richmond Terminal. This will ensure that Staten Island riders have equitable access to the services CSCs provide, such as fares enrollment and guidance on Omni use. This is especially important at St. George and Port Richmond, which are closer to the areas of Staten Island with the highest rates of low-income residents who would benefit from fares. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Alita Dupree, followed by David Kupferberg.
Thank you. Good morning to the chair and members. Alita Dupree, for the record, she and her with Team Folds have some subway background for you. The G train has become a favorite of mine. First, I talk about customer service. I mentioned to you in a previous meeting about a close family member who was having some problems with being frozen out of Omni reduced fare. And I recommended to this family member to go to the customer service center at Penn Station. Well, I'm pleased to report that due to a combination of factors, that this family member is no longer having trouble paying for the subway with their phone and using reduced fare. So I really like the idea of these customer service centers, and that she didn't have to go all the way down to Stone Street. So thank you for that. I'm looking forward to the changes. We're going to go into deeper levels of Omni. We're going to go into Tap to Ride. I look forward to trying that out when I return to New York. I think Tap to Ride's going to work. It's been done in London and Stockholm and another number of other places. It's going to help us to improve service in many different ways. And I wrote you all a letter about the fare policy, I think, back in August. And how do we keep building on our subway? Keep doing the CBTC. Working on our electricity. Can we have a renewable energy powered subway? I think we can get there. I think BART in San Francisco, is it like 66% renewable energy last I checked? But it's not just that BART does renewable energy. They're also known as being the people's system. So I look forward to your meeting. The very best in the holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is David Kupferberg, followed by Iris Kelly.
Good morning. My name is David Kupferberg, member of Passengers United. The B84 proposed for elimination as part of the Brooklyn bus network redesign has had poor ridership for its short life because it serves a single purpose and has poor headways. The B84 should be extended north to Jamaica Avenue and Broadway Junction and serve the Cleveland Street and Shepherd Avenue subway stations. North of Livonia Avenue, the B84 would have to operate mostly via the Ashford Street, Warwick Street couplet. The negative impact would be the elimination of parking spaces. But East New York is more transit-dependent than auto-dependent. Therefore, the elimination of parking spaces should not pose a problem. I want the B84 to survive and thrive. Some history. Since the mid-1970s, East New York has wanted more service, especially to serve the new Starrett City. Brooklyn Community Board 5 wanted the B83 to become a true Pennsylvania Avenue bus route, and for New York City Transit to establish a new north-south bus route between Pennsylvania Avenue and Fountain Avenue, a distance of 2 miles. But NYCT had other ideas. And at the time, NYCT wanted to do service changes without investment in the bus system. NYCT offered to reroute the B83 via Van Sicklin Avenue between New Lights Avenue and Vandalia Avenue. Brooklyn CB5 was not happy, but reluctantly agreed to these and other changes implemented in 1978 because they were given to CB5 on a take-it-or-leave-it basis. Now, as part of the Brooklyn Bus Network redesign, the MTA wishes to resurrect the true Pennsylvania Avenue idea for the B83. But the MTA proposes the elimination of Van Sicklin Avenue service and the B84 and continues to refuse the request for that new bus route via the center of East New York. The bus network redesign should close service gaps, not exacerbate them. Those who don't learn from the past are condemned to repeat it.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Iris Kelly, followed by Simon Weiser.
Yes, we could use more on demand, if possible. It would come very handy. I have many issues I've had where I needed them, but I don't even have it. Some people are more blessed by it, but please open it and get me into that. Now, also, I had an issue with a driver this week. He not parked where he's supposed to be to pick me up. I had to go down to the corner. Look, I seen him there at the corner, in the middle of the block, actually. And then I told him how I'm just around the corner. He gave me an attitude about he can't be on the corner. It's open space, all these different rules about the transit. And he didn't have to raise his voice to me. It was not nice. He could have spoken nicely in a good way about his issues. But it was not nice to see that happen. And for the assess a ride, else more, they can do more things for us also, in terms of being a little more on time and not making us wait over an hour. Like today, they couldn't get the assess ride because they had to wait over an hour for him. I wasn't staying for an hour. He was supposed to be at 7:09. It was 8 o'clock when no show either. So I just had to step out of there. I couldn't stand there waiting for him anymore in the ice cold weather. It's ridiculous. But have good luck with everything else, and God bless day.
Okay, thank you. Next speaker is Simon Weiser, followed by Jean Ryan. Okay. All right, we'll move on to Jean Ryan, followed by Andy Pollock.
Hello. Hello to Simon. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Simon. Oh, it's echoing. Sorry.
Oopsie. Hi, I'm Jean Ryan, President of Disabled in Action of Metropolitan New York, DIA for short. As you know, I ride express buses, but often I cannot get onto the bus, or it can take up to an hour for the bus driver to get me on. Sometimes the fire department of New York has to get me off the bus. One smart thing the bus department has now is instruction stickers for drivers on how to move the seats for wheelchair users. It's not like the regular buses, it's different on the express buses. The problem is that only some express buses have the instruction stickers. Wouldn't this be able to be quickly remedied so all buses have the stickers? Is there a spreadsheet of the buses and a checklist to see which buses have the stickers and which ones don't have them? How hard could it be to make sure stickers are on every bus? That would be so helpful. Put them on if they are getting maintenance, if they are getting parked in the depot, and the drivers can check when they run through their checklist before they start. That is, if they have a checklist. Thank you.
All right, next speaker is Andy Pollock, and we're going to go back to Simon Weiser afterwards.
Good morning, everyone. This is Andy Pollard from Passengers United. So, two things we're going to discuss for the end of 2025. Number one, I sounded a little bit hostile about Mayor Mamdani's free bus plan, and if it came out the wrong way, I do honestly apologize about that, and hopefully my comments can be retracted. But the realistic goal should be fair fares, because it has been done before under the de Blasio administration. And for an example, in Boston, with the MBTA, they have a fair fare program as long as you meet the requirements under the federal poverty line. So it is possible that hopefully in the new year, the city council can negotiate that with the budget due in April, and hopefully Mayor Mamdani will be fully on board with the idea of expanding the de Blasio era fair fare program, because that can be realistically done more than the free buses that he is proposing. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about is subway surfing. Now, there was a high-profile incident, what happened on the J line last week, but just for the record, I have witnessed a subway surfing incident myself. November 10th, I was on the 7 train, and I was going to Saros on the Upper West Side for my birthday. And we were going between Hunters Point Avenue and Vernon Boulevard, and I saw teenagers subway surfing. So it's still happening, despite the talk of, oh, drones this and police officers that. You know, we need more education. You know, why can't we have in-school sessions with these teenagers telling them, knock it off, stop it? Because what you're seeing on TikTok or Instagram, in real life, you have consequences. If you do that and you fall off the train, that's it. You're done. So let's continue to be smart. And again, remember,
All
riders
right.
died.
Thank you
and stay
very much for
alive.
your
So with
remarks.
that being all said, have a very
Our-
happy holiday. And I will
Our next
speak to
speaker
you all in
is Simon
2026.
Weiser. Simon, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah, this is Simon. Is this how you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Sure. Thank you for taking this comment. My name is Simon Weiser. I'm the first vice chair, Community Board 1 in Brooklyn, and a member of the Transportation Committee. I've received many complaints from many New Yorkers regarding the wording ad that is currently running on the MTA buses. The ad reads Museum of Sex. These ads have never been placed on MTA buses. These residents have complained that this ad is a violation of the MTA policy. Although it may appear that MTA bans pictures, but they do ban wording as well. I will read to you the MTA policy. I therefore would like to request, in the name of many New Yorkers, that the MTA removed immediately the current ad and replace it with something more appropriate. I've reached out to the Department of Government and Community at the MTA regarding this issue, and I was forwarded the MTA advertisement policy. But when reading the policy, I see that the MTA policy does prohibit any ad of sexual nature. Therefore, this wording should also be banned, following some wording of the policy. In the beginning of the MTA advertising policy, they write in the article, the heading is objective. They want to maximize ridership for all, including minors. Secondly, minimize the extraordinary resources and executive attention that is being expended to resolve disputes relating to the permissibility of certain political advertisements of sexual nature. Now, in section number 3, category B of the prohibited advertisement says sexually oriented products or services are prohibited according to the MTA policy. I therefore again would like to beg to the MTA to have this ad replaced with an ad which is more appropriate. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Oliver Chesler, followed by Michael Ring.
Good morning. I would like to address the issues about the R142 fleet on the A Division especially the 2, 4, and 5 trains. So we've had 2 issues in the past 2, 3 months where the train cars have physically disconnected from each other. Now this cannot be. Does not sound safe or legal by any means. And soon enough, we're gonna have the federal government on our tail, being like, what's going on, New York? So we don't. What's the plan here? What are we gonna do to address this issue? And yeah, and that's all I have for today. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Our next speaker is Michael Ring, followed by Ian Matthews.
Hi, my name is Michael Ring, and if anyone needs a verbal description of my appearance, I'm a 62-year-old white guy wearing a hoodie, need a shave, and got a fresh haircut. I want to talk about, a little nuanced program for accessoride users called taxi reimbursement authorization. It really works out pretty well. If something's going wrong on your ride, we can be allowed to arrange for our own ride to get us home, and we get reimbursed. Or if we're going to a transit hub where timing is very important, we can take an Uber or a taxi, and we trust a little bit more than the regular accessoride trips. Reimbursement used to take about a month. You get a check back in the mail, you'd have to fill out a form, mail it in, or now we can do it online. Saturday's mail, I got a check for a ride I took to Kennedy Airport that was on August 26th. That was almost 4 months ago. I acknowledge my entitlement. I can afford to lay out the money for 4 months. A lot of people are letting this ride on their credit card. It's a long time to get reimbursed. And also, when you apply for taxi reimbursement, you have to do it within 60 days. So if something goes wrong and you don't get your check in 3 or 4 months, you might not be able to actually go back and fix it because it's been so long since you got your check. As an advocate, I'm finding out it might be a staffing problem, might be time to staff up in that area, or use some more artificial intelligence to figure out how to reimburse people, let machines read the checks. Also, the way we get the check in the mail, it's one of those, you get a little thing you have to rip open. The check doesn't come in an envelope. Not everyone could peel those things apart. My hands don't work very well. And also, when you get multiple checks in the mail, one check for multiple rides, it's hard to figure out what you're getting paid back for. So this could be fixed.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Thank you.
All right, our next speaker is Ian Matthews.
Hi. Good afternoon. I hope you're all staying warm on this very cold day. I'm glad to see that new turnstiles are being put in at select stations. However, the question is, will they stop fare invasion? Because people are saying they're still going to get around it. So that'll be interesting to see. We need to also, there was yet another stabbing at the Bedford Park train station, which is the train station I use. Because there's drug dealers and homeless at that entrance holding the gate open. No one does a thing about it, and police is never around. I mean, I'm glad it was featured on the news, but more needs to be done. More needs to also be done with subway surfing. We had another incident on Thursday. And what's even more disturbing is they're surfing on top of the new B trains in Brooklyn. So that there should also be something looked into that. My last thing, with the planned work on the 4 line, why is 167 and 161 being skipped? Like, if the track work is happening at Mount Eden, you guys did this back in November and October too. Why is 167 and 161 being skipped? Like, there's a switch right at 167. The train could just skip 176 Mount Eden, 170th, and then no problem. But no, 167 and 161 are skipped. Also, really, you're doing this during December break, December 30th and 31st and January 2nd. Yeah, I think you should cancel that because a lot of people take the train during midday. So I think that should be canceled. And please, to have the 4 trains stop at 167 and 161 during that work. Thank you.
All right, our next speaker will be Charlton D'Souza, followed by Jason Anthony.
All right. right, everyone. So, good morning. My name is Charlton D'Souza. I'm the president of Passengers United. So, we're getting a lot of complaints about the Omni rollout and the fare increase rollout. You guys have not communicated with Nassau Intercounty Express properly. I was at their board meeting when they were voting on their fare increase for Nassau County. Same thing with Beeline. Why is it that you guys are not having any MetroCard switchovers to Omni in Nassau County? That needs to be made a priority. Also, the technician needs to be stationed at the 179th Street subway station for the next 2.5 weeks to make sure the MetroCard machine is working there. And it would be nice if the MTA could put Omni on, because most of the nice buses now have Omni. They're just doing the software testing. So if everything is finished and complete, I don't know why y'all can't just turn the Omni readers on, so they can get a test in real time. That would be excellent. In terms of the conditions at 179th Street subway station, I was on a train with feces and urine all over the seats. You guys need to have bleach. Y'all need to have ammonia. Y'all need to have cleaning equipment, supplies there for the cleaners. Because I've noticed on certain days, all the cleaners have is a broom. A broom is not going to sweep up feces on the seats. And y'all need to focus on the subway seats. All y'all do is focus on the floors. Focus on the subway seats because you can't sit down. It's disgusting. And the homeless situation has been out of control. It has been bad down there. I'm down there at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, and I see the conditions down there. It's horrible. So you guys really need to improve that and work on that. And in terms of the fare increase, we're not happy with the way things are being rolled out. A lot of people are being left out. The seniors, many of them have still not been able to switch over to
All right,
Omni.
thank you for your
Y'all haven't
comment.
even trained us.
Thank you for your
either.
comment. Our
So,
final
thank you.
speaker is Jason Anthony.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jason Anthony, the transit guru, this time in person. Let's get some facts into it, shall we? Regarding the fare increase, to the person who spread out lies, because we're not going to mention some names due to security reasons, we have seen posters in 1, buses, 2, subway stations, 3, subway posters in subway stations. Point number 2, regarding the Omni rollout on Nassau Intercounty Express, better known as NICE, like I call it, not so nice, has been publicized on their social networks. And it is not up to the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, better known as the MTA, to do the software rollout. It's up to NICE Bus. And Beeline Bus in Westchester County has been doing the rollout as well. And regarding the fare increase rollout, has been well publicized, although that yours truly has been seen all over social media, especially on TikTok, Omni class action lawsuit. These people should be well educated regarding the uses of Omni and registering their cards on omni.info like I do, because I monitor where I do my 12 trips and I get my free ride throughout the week. And I suggest everybody to read the New York Times article where our beloved Camaro Royal comes out, and I congratulate everybody throughout 2025, especially our beloved Camaro Royal. And let's get accessibility done for 2026.
Thank you, Jason. That concludes our public comment sessions for today's meeting.
Thank you very much to all our public speakers. I'll now make a motion to approve the minutes from the November 2025 meeting. So move. Second. All those in favor? Against? Abstentions? Motion carried. Great. Demetrius, are there any changes to the work plan?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, will you start us off with the President's report, please?
Sure. So thank you all for joining us today. We've had a busy week with transit, lots of hard work being done, but also a lot of work to be proud of. So anyone who knows me knows that I do not like the cold. I prefer warm weather, and I feel like the gods have been testing me the last couple of days. Temperatures drop below freezing. It seems like every single day last week, it required a unique response for us from transit. So I figured it would be good for us to share with the public how much work actually goes on in preparing for extreme cold and snow. We must remain on guard even when not a drop of snow is on the ground. So that work starts well in advance. December is a great time to remind New Yorkers of the work we do, but I'll remind folks that the prep work that goes into it happens well in advance. As an agency, we begin preparing for winter during the fall season. This includes reviewing operational plans, gathering necessary supplies, and discussing seasonal forecasts to anticipated potential challenges. We conduct exercises and tabletop drills to ensure that all team members understand their roles and responsibilities in responding to winter weather plans. The work our staff accomplish in advance of bad weather really does span the gamut of activities. We have an arsenal of snow throwers, snow brooms, ice picks, shovels, which are all maintained and inspected in-house by our in-house teams. On the subway side, station cleaners, they go out and shovel snow and the customer pathways. We also have maintenance aways folks who also do the same exact thing. Facilities remain vigilant in spreading salt ahead of potential slippery and icy conditions. We have switches out there. Switches move from side to side, route our trains to go. Well, you definitely don't want snow or ice impacted inside of our switches. So we have heaters that warm up the switches and third rail, and they're activated in advance of a storm from our local towers, yard towers, and control center. When the temperature is below a certain temp or snow or ice is in the forecast, local towers will be manned by tower operators or supervisors where needed to test operated the switches every 30 to 60 minutes. We have multiple de-icer trains that are out there. Those de-icer trains are deployed through the system, spreading special gels on the tracks to prevent an ice buildup on the running rails. We deploy snow throwing trains that do exactly what you would think. Imagine your household snowblower on steroids. That's essentially what we have. To keep our yards free of ice and snow, we deploy a train that is essentially like a giant hair dryer. It just sucks up all of the ice and snow inside of yards. On the bus side, road operations ensures that Stuck Bus program is working and that all managers are familiar with the process, as well as monitoring that each division has sufficient supplies, including shovels, tire chains, auto chains, chain cutters, and salt. This isn't something that just happens and we get it done the day before. All of this happens in preparation well in advance. Snow fighting vehicles, a total of 35, are serviced and inspected weekly. We monitor weather conditions from the Bus Command Center. The BCC Storm Advisory System utilizes an alert and advisory system with different levels of severity, up to 12 hours prior to an impending storm or weather condition, each level with escalating precautions. And on our paratransit side, whether it's dedicated or broker service, our teams are in constant communication with carriers and ensuring that the most vulnerable customers can receive high-quality service. While we can't control the weather, we can ensure that we are as prepared as possible to mitigate whatever is thrown our way. On December 8th, we implemented the first permanent change to the subway network since 2017 when we swapped the routes to F and M between Queens and Manhattan. You'll remember this affected only 8 stations between the boroughs, but means 1.2 million riders who take the E, F, M, and R are experiencing more reliable service as a result. This swap eliminates the merge point at Queens Plaza, reducing the chance that trains are waiting for others to cross in front. Previously, the E-train riders might have found themselves waiting on a Manhattan-bound train at Queens Plaza for an M train to cross in front, or left 21st Street, Queensbridge, on a Jamaica-bound F train, only to stop while an E crossed ahead. Those type of inconveniences are now a thing of the past. Now, I know some communities were initially unsure about this change, but we did the work to ensure that they were benefiting and getting what they needed, like additional M service during the AM and PM weekday rushes that make for shorter wait times and less crowded trains, and critical station rehabs at 21st Street, Queensbridge. That included installing additional light fixtures, adding a new canopy over the entrance stairways to protect riders from inclement weather, new signage, installing ADA tactile on the platform edge, replacing broken floor tiles, and more. On the first day of the swap, I met with commuters at Roosevelt Island to ensure they were aware of the change and had all the tools that they needed. Let me tell you, I was happy to hear when someone told me that they could get a seat on the first train that came into the station, where they had waited previously 1, 2, and sometimes 3 trains to be able to get on. That is thanks to the incredible work of many folks, including operations planning, stations, station signage, customer communications, and much more. Outreach included customer ambassadors at all 8 affected stations, posters in the stations, social media campaign, public outreach meetings in stations, and onboard train announcements. So, great work by the team, amazing. All of our riders seemed to be prepared. It was a simple change, but required a network of individuals to do their part to get it done. In her annual State of the State address earlier this year, Governor Hochul put us to the task of upgrading our facilities and equipment to keep riders safe. The governor challenged us to install more platform barriers, improve lighting conditions in stations, combat fare evasion, and install new cameras to protect riders. I'm happy to report today that we have met and surpassed the governor's expectations. We've completed the installation of 100 platform barriers across the system as of last week, and we may squeak out a few more just for good measure. I can tell you from personal experience that people appreciate these pieces of equipment. Every time I'm down in the system, I see people standing behind them. They're leaning on them for safety, they recognize they're there, and they are of value to our customers. So, as also by the end of the year, we will have installed LED lighting in every single station. When I walk into a station for the first time since the bulbs have been changed over, I feel like I've gone into a completely different new station. It's really incredible what an improvement these lights can be, not just for the safety, but for the entire station environment. We're also on track to install faregate modification system-wide. Backcocking, fins, sleeves, done. Stations with fins and sleeves have experienced up to a 60% decrease in fare evasion. Some members of the public might think these interventions just look funny. But the truth of the matter is these modifications work. We've also installed more than 19,000 cameras in subway cars. 19,000 cameras in subway cars. That's in addition to the more than 15,000 cameras we've installed that we have in our stations. And we're still not done. Our NYPD partners tell us time and time again what a powerful crime-fighting tool these cameras are. They've helped solve crimes at a historic pace. And we're excited to continue our work with the governor in 2026 and find even more ways to keep our riders safe and our system moving. Now, you've heard us talk about our historic capital plan and the amazing investments it takes to get these rolling stock on board. But new rolling stock means little to customers if they aren't riding it, right? At Transit, we've been taking steps to ensure that we can deliver on the promise to include incredible influx of new cars. Last month, we opened the first brand new full-scale subway car facility opened on a new property that we've added to our network in 77 years. I'll also add that this is the first of its kind facility. Every new car's journey will start at the new rail car acceptance and testing facility in Sunset Park, Brooklyn. This location was specifically chosen for a couple different reasons. One, it's able to accept cars by truck, rail, and even barge. It also offers a direct connection to the mainline tracks. Now, we expect to be testing 30 new cars here every month. State-of-the-art cars and equipment call for state-of-the-art facility. We know we have that in this case. Now, previously, receiving cars was a lot more challenging. Cars would be delivered by truck to South Brooklyn Marine Terminal. Employees then had to link up the cars outdoors, in the elements, on the tracks. We would take those cars to a maintenance shop where they would inspect and test the equipment. Then it would go to pick and shop to be wired up for dynamic testing. Now, we do all of this in one location in preparation for dynamic testing. The consistency and efficacy of centralizing this work will translate to faster and more reliable trips for our riders. And with that, I will turn it over to Bill Amorose.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm pleased to report that November was another strong month for subway performance. Weekday on-time performance was 84.4%, a 1 percentage point increase from October, and the highest November weekday OTP outside COVID. Weekend performance was also strong at 86.7%, and customer journey time performance was 85.7%. These results reflect our continued efforts to use data to drive performance improvements. I'd specifically like to point out the B and C lines, where we use data on actual train performance to work with our partners in operations planning to implement new schedules that went into effect this November, and we're already seeing large improvements in OTP on both of those lines. As President Critchlow mentioned, we implemented the FM swap earlier this month to simplify routes and improve reliability. From my own experience being out there on the line, those stop-and-go situations at Queens Plaza and near 36th Street are a thing of the past. It's too early to give any specific numbers, but early signs are that the swap is working and service is improving for riders across the EF, M, and R lines. I'd also like to thank the Subways team for their efforts with the snowstorm yesterday. As the President mentioned, there's a lot of preparation work that goes into any of those storms. And thanks to that preparation and a lot of work by the team, Saturday into Sunday, we had very few incidents on the subway and ran very strong service. As we talked about last month, in preparation for the holiday season, we have additional personnel in our stations helping guide visitors and New Yorkers enjoying all the city has to offer during the holiday season. I was out there yesterday. The trains were busy, and we certainly had a lot of occasional and first-time riders out there, and the team was doing a great job making sure that they knew how to get around and use the service. There's also 2 more Sundays to ride the vintage holiday train. We've had great ridership and a great time the last 2 Sundays, and also great partnership with the Department of Security, NYPD, and MTA PD to make sure everyone stays safe on that train. Also, the biggest night of the year for us is New Year's Eve. We'll be prepared with plenty of additional service that evening and continuing until 2 a.m. There's additional service on 16 lines, including extended service on some lines that normally end early, and we'll be prepared to get riders to the New Year's Eve ball drop and then get them home right after midnight. With that, I'd like to wish everyone a healthy and happy holiday season, and I'll turn it over to Frank for buses.
Good afternoon, everyone. Overall performance for November has remained stable relative to October 25, and compared to this time last year, we have seen some improvements. Service delivery was at 94.2, up 2.2% from last year, and down just 0.3% from October. Noticeably, November service delivered numbers were close to 2019 levels, something we haven't yet achieved yet this year. Customer journey time improved to 68%, a 3.8 point increase from last year and 0.5 higher than this previous month, driven by reductions in additional bus stop time and additional travel time. Average bus speeds held steady at 8.2 miles per hour, same as October, and 2.5% improvement compared to 2024. We rolled out the final 3 ACE routes for 2025 this past Monday on the B68, B60, and M57. This brings the total ACE-equipped routes to 54. We will continue to roll out additional routes in 2026. This past Friday, ACE routes BX22, M96, M116, and the BX2 started issuing fines for cars that are blocking bus lanes, bus stops, and that are double parking along the routes. We urge everyone to help keep buses moving smoothly. Please stay out of the bus lanes, the stops, and refrain from double parking. Echoing what the President has presented, winter road conditions can present a challenge for our buses. The team has implemented a winter preparation plan to ensure safe, reliable service with clear communication to our customers if, in fact, there is a weather event, which we got to see yesterday for the first time, getting some snow accumulation. Customers are encouraged to check the MTA app and mta.info for service information and updates. And thank you. That concludes the buses update.
Rachel?
Good afternoon, everybody. November was a strong performance month for paratransit as well, and the theme I want to draw attention to is consistency. So we continue to provide an incredibly high level of service reliability, even as we see our ridership trends persist. In November, our on-time performance across the week was just over 96% in the 30-minute window and around 90% in the 20-minute window. That's very consistent with our performance both in October of this year and the same month in November of 2024, in spite of the fact that our ridership continues to be up 15 to 20% over last year. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I want to extend thanks to the entire paratransit team for their daily dedication to continue to keep service at these unprecedented levels. Similar to our colleagues in subways and buses, we're prepared as winter is upon us and continue working with our service providers to make sure that we can provide uninterrupted service throughout the holidays and throughout the winter months. And with that, I'll turn it over to Bernard for the ridership report.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, board members. Just a recap of the ridership data for the month of November. I guess I would be remiss to say it's cold outside. Since I'm from Chicago, I probably shouldn't say anything about the cold. I like Bill, I was outside yesterday surveying the service area, but I was also out there happy to see some snow. I'm just keeping it. It's my first one. This will be my first winter here. Yeah. So November ridership normally dips slightly from October highs due to the shorter days, cooler temperatures, and long vacation around the Thanksgiving week. That trend held this year as well, with paid weekday subway ridership dropping to 4.1 million riders compared to the 4.158 million in October. Even still, that still represents a healthy 5.3% gain over 2024, while standing at 74% of pre-pandemic levels. Subway ridership on core school open midweek days was 4.4 million, a similar 5.5% year over year again compared to last year, and 75% of pre-pandemic levels. Early results for December show that the strong year-over-year trends are continuing with new daily post-pandemic records set on December 4th with 4.6 million riders. It's incredible. Weekend ridership was led by the record-setting numbers of Marathon Weekend on November 1st and 2nd, when we hit a 3.1 million and 2.8 million respectively. For the full month, average Saturday came in at 2.8 million and Sunday at 2.2 million, representing 90% and 93% of pre-pandemic volumes respectively. On the bus side, weekday paid ridership dropped to 1.32%, down from 1.38 in October, and is a 5% lower than the normal 2024 figures of 1.39. Although our overall ridership was still well above 2.78 million for overall ridership. The recent strong trends in paratransit, as Rachel mentioned, ridership continues in November as paratransit hit records, has recorded its highest ridership levels in the history of its operations in 2025. While total monthly ridership dropped 6.5% from October, all-time high to 1.33 million, this was due largely to the calendar effects and the shorter month. Focusing on average weekday ridership shows core November demand was 51,000, essentially unchanged from October, 51,000 as well. That also represents a 17.4 gain over November 2024 and is 138% of pre-pandemic levels, as you see here on the slide. Ridership peaked at 56,841 on Wednesday, November 12th, reflecting the typical midweek highs seen on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Weekend ridership averages 32,582. That concludes my ridership update. I'll turn it back over to the president.
Thank you, Bernard. Midori has a question.
Hi, everybody.
So does
Thank
Melva.
you. I know the sprint to the finish line for December is crazy and a busy time for you all. So thank you to all of you and our workforce on buses. I have two questions. The first question is, we had snow. That's exciting. It's been a while since we've had a little bit of snow. I know at the same time I have talked to folks close to the Department of Sanitation around what it means to like shovel snow in front of the bus stops to make sure we don't get big hills. Obviously, it was not a blizzard, but would love to hear a little bit about what you saw on the streets in front of bus stops. And yeah, would love to report that back.
Yeah, so I was actually out, started in the middle of the night, Saturday night into Sunday, my first storm with buses, usually from subways. And yeah, communication starts early on in the season. We have meetings with sanitation to, and then I actually had a personal meeting with them as well to introduce myself, to start the communication between us as the leaders of buses and of sanitation. And then, as we're out and we're riding the actual bus routes, if we see issues, we communicate directly with sanitation. We also have our own snow fighters that we can address issues like that. And then, it continues as the storm progresses.
Great. Good to hear about the equipment that you all have. I know sanitation was looking to procure like smaller equipment as well to kind of support these spaces. Second item, I wanted to bring up, and I think this is the right time to do so. There was a daily news article, and I wasn't here earlier in the day, so I apologize if I missed this already. A troubling story about bus maintenance and missing data on bus repairs. I just wondered if you could speak to that, kind of what the maintenance protocols are, how you're getting that data, and what your reaction is to this article. Is this what is happening on the bus maintenance side? Do we feel good about what's happening, or what needs improvement?
So the article referenced, some labor attached to a work order, but there are many administrative reasons why labor wouldn't be on a particular work order. An example is if we have a bus that's under warranty and we have work to do with a vendor where it may generate a work order, for a particular issue, and then the vendor may handle where we may not record the labor associated from a vendor, and there's many other reasons why that would particularly happen. But maintenance, and I know we've spoken here about MDBF, and it's one of the things that we work at, every single day to try and improve our bus maintenance, improve reliability, right, for our buses. And then you can see we've had a few bus procurements, the last couple of committees that are pushing through to get us a new fleet. I believe we have one today as well. And, the future of buses with the next couple of years, bringing on a new fleet. For example, in the Bronx with the articulated buses, right there, some of our oldest with the lowest MDBF, and those are in the process right now of being replaced.
Okay, good to hear about the fleet, obviously, and support new fleet. Curious about if those reports or this notion of the lack of data in these kind of, maintenance logs, if that ties to the MBDF issues that we've been having in the Bronx. And then I noticed Manhattan MBDF was down too. Sorry, I only focus on the Bronx, Lisa. But I was looking at the metrics and I was like, Manhattan's in a similar spot too. So what's going on in Manhattan?
So I'd have to look in particular at what months with Manhattan, I believe Manhattan for this past month was flat. But no, I don't believe the data that's being referenced is the effect on MDBF.
Just one comment. I think one thing is clear. We never let a bus leave the depot unsafe, right? And so, the team is really laser focused on making sure that service is made, but it is made safely. There is no gain to this authority to put buses out there that have any risk to the operation and not disclosing that. I think the one thing that we've been very, very clear about is our desire to make bus service better. And, part of that is not only making sure as a leadership team we are doing better at managing the resources, managing the people, managing these repeat failures that continue to happen, but also working with our labor partners to be able to get the work that our customers deserve. I mean, that is a part of it. We have a very, very tight relationship with the labor, and any progress that we're going to make is always with their partnership. So we do work hand in hand with them to try to make sure that we are moving this forward, but it's a delicate balance to reach.
Melva had a question.
Sure. It's all about the buses today. Sorry. But I appreciate, President Critchlow, your team's dedication to improving bus service, especially coming from a part of the city that is not serviced by subways. I know how important those buses are without taking away parking. But I'm just saying, but how important those are. So I really appreciate the focus on that. So I'm just curious, just looking at the numbers, and want to know what the assumptions are around the decrease in ridership in buses last month, just thinking about what might be coming in the next administration, mayoral administration, and how there might be changes in the way people ride buses. I'm just curious if there's some assumptions about why there's been a dip last month.
So I'll just comment highlight. We are definitely looking into this number. There are a couple of things that are evident. One, we believe that there's a transition of students that were not necessarily being captured, that were given their new Omni card, new tap and ride card, Omni cards, that were not they didn't have access to be able to ride the system. The cards themselves weren't functional. There's also some issues that we're continuing to work through with the vendor, and so we know that that's a part of the equation. The team is trying to narrow down right now how much of that decrease is tied to it. Clearly, if you look at the buses, you look at the subways, ridership is up from a year ago. So we need to do some more digging to determine what that portion is.
So, Demetrius, what can we do as a board to help you make those issues go away, if they can go away? Yeah. Or is that a conversation for later on?
So I'll just
I don't
say,
mean to put you on the spot.
No,
We care, as you know. A lot of us here has stated our issues with.
So I think
Cuba.
the best part about having this board is you're all avid transportation riders. So you have families that take the system, and so you will have a vested interest in making this better, right? When MetroCard first transitioned over, it was tough. There were a lot of issues that we had to encounter, and I think that right now Tap and Ride is traveling along in a similar vein. I think as an organization, the more we are transparent with those issues, the easier we are able to find solutions to them. And I think that this board is doing its due diligence to try to get information about what those challenges are, and holding us accountable to be able to deliver upon the solutions.
Great. No, thank you. We want to help you, not, you too, Frank, with what's going on. And Melva's right. Then it's going to be an interesting next couple of months. But just know we're here to help you guys in any way we can. Any other questions? If not, we're going to move on to the transit All-Stars, my favorite time of the meeting.
All right. So Yeah, I definitely love every quarter we get an opportunity to talk about the great work that this team does. Inside this book, you'll notice the number of transit all-stars that are in here. And because of time, we started a little late, I'm just going to run through the individuals rather than looking at the specific accomplishments. But that does in no way shortchange the amazing work that this team does behind the scenes, sometimes in front of customers, with customers, looking for solutions, looking for efficiencies. It does in no way shortchange the amazing work that this team does to make this system run. So we'll start out with, I'll ask you to stand up too so we can just recognize who is who. For paratransit, we have Christopher Messina, Ciara Taylor, and I understand that Chris is retiring in January after 32 years of distinguished service to transit. We would like to thank you for your service, and I will not be signing off on your reliefs. So from the Department of Security, we have Anthony Fuller, Muhammad Udin, and Samar Manuel. Samar, I'm sorry, and you told me that too. From the Office of System Safety, we have Edward Perricone. From Operations Planning, Patrick Scalise. From the Department of Buses, Anthony Ventimiglia, Guy Simone, Marcos Rodriguez Andeseo, Nicholas Pivotar, and Ziting Liu. Yeah. And from the Department of Subways, we have Ruki Gan, Shay Notman, and Wilbert Cologne. Thank you all for everything that you do. Seriously, you are the highlight of this organization, and we would not be able to do what we do without you.
Yes. Yes, no, and thank you on behalf of all of the board members for all the great work that you do. Thank you, and enjoy your retirement. We move on. Okay, questions. Now, Chief Galata's not here, but who's here?
Deputy Chief Keith Shine.
Hi, thank you, Chief Shine. Would you mind giving us our
Absolutely.
crime
and-
report, please?
Good morning, Chair. Good afternoon, I'm sorry, Chair Mahaltis and President Critchlow, members of the board. You have before you the crime figures for the month of November. Last month, the subway system saw 168 crimes, which reflects a 24% reduction or 54 less incidents when compared to last November.
That's great.
This reduction was driven by a decrease in our robberies, down 18%, felony assaults, down 30%, and grand larcenies, down 24%. Looking at the year-to-date through the end of November, the latest figures show a continuing downward trend in subway crimes. Through the first 11 months of 2025, the system has seen a 5.5% reduction in crime from 2,050 incidents last year down to 1,937 incidents this year, which reflects 113 less crimes. As you can see from the figures, grand larcenies continue to make up the bulk of the crimes that our subway riders experience. Simply put, grand larcenies are property theft without the use of force. Examples include theft from a sleeping passenger or stealing from an unaware rider's bag or pockets. As you may have seen in the news recently, the Transit Bureau has officers specifically dedicated to combating these types of thefts, and nowhere is this more evident than in our subways in and around the holiday hotspots that are teeming with tourists and New Yorkers alike. All in all, as you can see from the figures provided, it's been a very promising 11 months when it comes to the crime and safety picture within New York City subway system, and we look forward to continuing that trend into 2026. And on behalf of Chief Galata and the entire NYPD transit team, we wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday season.
Thank you, Chief. And it's great to see that the numbers are moving in the right direction. I understand grand larceny. I'm assuming now with all, 'tis the season with pickpockets and stuff, but I'm sure you guys are doing the best to keep our riders safe. So thank you. Any questions for Chief Shine? If not, we're going to move over to Jean, and you're going to give us a tap and ride presentation.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? Or at this point, good afternoon. Hi there. I am Gene Ribeiro, Deputy Chief Customer Officer for the MTA. For those of you who do not know, the MetroCard is officially retiring, our beloved MetroCard. It's retiring December 31st, 2025, and we are officially moving into the world of tap and ride in 2026. So over the past 3+ years, our customer communications team has worked diligently to communicate to our customers to help them transition into that world of tap and ride, into our world of contactless payments. So to help customers with that transition, our team has worked really hard to help communicate the benefits of our contactless payment system. And I'm going to walk you through what we have done and our mindset in terms of where we kind of like we're thinking and what our strategy was over these past several years, and where we're kind of what we've been thinking for the past quarter and what we're doing going into the future. So with respect to strategy, where we started was we had to kind of overcome some challenges. And the first challenge I will tell you is, we really had to, dive into exceeding the chairman's first challenge, which was, driving adoption. And, the adoption target here, and we heard that loud and clear, we had to drive adoption in terms of getting customers to transition into tap and ride. Listen, customers really, use the MetroCard. They've been using it for over 30 years. It has worked. Clearly, we had to, compete with multiple payment systems over the past several years. That's MetroCard, paying with coins on buses, also paying with tap and ride. So communicating those the various competing payment systems, it's a bit of a challenge, but we navigated it. We were able to, do it successfully. And I think that, part of the challenge was also hearing customers and understanding what their feedback was while we were building out our communications along the process. So some of this, was also based in also like simplifying content as we were building our communications as well, and making sure that we were building communications that were tying in with adoption targets. So in addition to overcoming these challenges, what we tried to do was build out strategies that also, aligned with not only the adoption targets, but we wanted to make sure that we were reminding customers what was coming forward in terms of benefits, the respective timelines, the strategies that we were tying into. So we wanted to make sure that we were building messaging that tied in very well with what was coming up. We also leveraged the respective communication channels that we have at our disposal. So, for examples, we have 10,000 screens that are at our disposal. We have digital advertising, we have respective print advertising. We have a number of different mechanisms that we can communicate to our 6 million plus customers at our respective fingertips. So we have social media, we have, our press relationships that we can tap into, no pun intended. How can we negotiate those relationships and leverage those respective mediums to communicate these different messages at a moment's notice? So we built into those respective mechanisms. We, of course, leveraged our website as the single source of truth, and we directed customers back to our website whenever we needed to. It was vitally important for us to reach out to our customers and make sure that we tapped into them where they were. So in terms of making sure that we built our messaging, we also made sure that we translated content as well. So making sure that we translated content and reaching customers in their respective neighborhoods to ensure that we communicated. So that way we didn't only translate and reach out to customers that only spoke English, and speaking to customers that were also customers with limited English proficiency was important to us. We also took every opportunity to learn for customers at engagement efforts. For example, we learned that 7-day unlimited ride customers, MetroCard customers, not only transitioning to tap, we're not only having difficulties transitioning to tap and ride as quickly as other customers because they didn't understand that they were maintaining that benefit. We also found that it was really like difficult to get them to move away. Like they were having a difficult time putting that MetroCard down and like switching over. So what did we do? We built out messaging that spoke to that issue. To Demetrius' earlier point, that was one of like the confusing issues. It was a problem for them. They were having a difficult time putting that MetroCard down. They were having a difficult time and they were having a problem like actually saying to us, you know what? I don't want to move away. They were saying to us, you know what? I don't want to actually put this card down. I don't want to shift over, and I don't want to shift over until I have to. So what do? We actually accepted it, and we were transparent about it. To his earlier point, we decided, you know what? We will say to you, guess what? This benefit still exists, and we're going to communicate it to you, and we're going to openly say to you, you know what? In English, Spanish, Chinese, Korean, whatever the language is, we're going to meet you where you are, and we're going to come out and we're going to say it to you openly and honestly. So separate and apart from communicating it on our digital screens, we jumped out, we created materials that were actually helpful for our frontline employees. We developed materials that would help them to answer questions in the field. So where we could build materials that could support our rank and file employees to answer questions, that was also very supportive and helpful. So we quickly communicated, or built communications that supported our rank and field that were out in the field. We decided to build supportive materials that could not only support us at customer engagement activities, that could support us at transit talk events, that could support us at respective frontline employee engagement activities. We decided, you know what, let's answer the questions that have proven to be problematic for us. And that's where I think when you can be transparent, it's very helpful. One of the other things that we decided to do was to create niche messaging that we found to be very helpful. You have to target the different audiences with the messaging that seems to be effective for their respective content. So for example, we work closely with NYC Public Schools. We decided to target students with their specific messaging. Why not get students the messaging that's helpful for them? Example, students needed to understand that Tap and Ride was very helpful in terms of at the beginning of the school year. Why not jump out and get them to understand that they needed to use their respective, student Omni cards? These are the additional benefits that you were going to get. You're going to be able to ride 4 times, a day, as opposed to the previous 3 times that you were going to leverage. You are going to be able to get this benefit where you can ride on the weekends. You're going to be able to get this benefit where you are going to, not have to, swipe and transfer in certain ways. So we were also able to tap into, reduced fare customers and meet and greet them via, our mobile sales partners. We were able to work with seniors and our respective, customer service, expansion center or centers where we were expanding, and we were trying to get customers to transfer their MetroCard balances and so on. So all of these respective opportunities called for very niche messaging. So our ability to create customized messaging for each of these different, parties and partners was very helpful for us. And our ability to create all of this messaging in-house was beyond helpful. Lastly, I think that it was very helpful for us to create some celebratory and creative partnership materials, not only with in-house, but also out-of-house celebrities and partners. Our ability to tap into some creative partnerships with notable celebrities, some in this room, some out of this room, has been really helpful to extend the reach of our messaging. I think that, we at the MTA have been able to say certain things. I think that, tapping into the audience of some of our celebrities, I think has been really helpful because they can extend the reach They can tap into their audiences through their social media channels. They can tap into their audiences, because they can say certain things that again, we can't say, right? They have a following that is considered very authentic, right? Like they can say certain things. Sometimes we're on the trains, and I remember I was on the train one day and a Cardi B announcement was played, and interestingly enough, a customer was sitting there and they said, "Oh wow, Cardi B said that. It must be true." And I said to myself, you know what? I have succeeded, so so very, very true. But it's absolutely, absolutely. I do think that what's helpful here is we have a diverse array of celebrities that are all speaking to different audiences, which I think is very helpful. Everyone speaks to different types of customers, and what's helpful is when you can diversify. We have a very diverse fabric or ethnic fabric of customers, and I think that when we are able to diversify and extend the reach of who we can speak to and through, it's helpful to extend the reach of our message. So that said, we have had the ability through our team members and through our partners to work with a number of celebrities, and with more coming. We've worked notably with again, Cardi, Andy Cohen, Cat's Eye, the cast of Hell's Kitchen, Ronnie Chang, Trey Anastasio of the band Fish, Oscar the Grouch. We've put some, isn't that fun? We've put some. You've heard them in our audio announcements in your local subway stations. You have also seen them on social media. But what's fun about this is we're tapping into different demographics. We're tapping into different age groups. We are tapping into different customer bases. And what's cool about this is you may hear them. It will resonate with you. And the ability for these respective New Yorkers, right, like to speak authentically to other New Yorkers and to remind them to transition from MetroCard to Tap and Ride is helpful. So, we continue to resonate or help this message resonate with customers. Our ability to kind of communicate this message through any and all is helpful. We are going to continue to do this diligent work and tedious work to push this message out. We would, love to hear any and all feedback from customers. We continue to take all of that content and use it to build all of this messaging. As I mentioned it earlier, it was helpful to get customer feedback through formal market research, through interactions from customers at public-facing events. I think whether it was a transit talk, whether it was, from a local interaction, just helping a customer to tap and ride, to purchase, an Omni card at a CVM machine, or helping a tourist just to get through a turnstile or what have you. Those types of interactions, I think, have helped us to be able to learn more about how to build messaging out. So our ability to take that messaging and to kind of build more content out has been helpful. The last thing that I will mention is that we have, also built out more the MetroCard experience or farewell type of messaging for customers as well. So we have partnered with local organizations from Carvel to other restaurants to build out MetroCard farewell menu items at discounted rates that are available on our respective website. So customers can go out there and they can actually say farewell to the MetroCard as well, and purchase products and do different things to bid farewell to the beloved MetroCard. So what has this all amounted to? Lastly, it has amounted to a 94% adoption for the conversion from MetroCard to Tap and Ride. We're going to continue to work diligently with all partners, community partners, press partners, all of our partners out there in the system, affiliates, as our partner here, Jason, had mentioned earlier. We are working with partners, Beeline, other partners out there to communicate the transition as well. And we will see you in 2026 as we continue to tap and ride into the future.
So, Jean, thank you very much. I know Melvin has a comment, but I just wanted two things. So all the MetroCard machines are going to turn into Omni machines, so you can buy an Omni card there.
That is
and
correct.
I know, so that's great. And then Chief has heard me say this before. How are we going to get the tourists? Like, are we gonna plaster everything on JFK and LaGuardia? And can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, so a lot of work and effort continues around that. I mean, through our customer service centers, our station agents, and we're deploying an army of the willing. When even employees, we're sort of asking them, when you see a line, engage the customers, tell them to instruct them or nudge them to just, if they have, especially if they have a debit card or credit card in their hands readily available, just tapping and entering. And with the expansion of, going up to 30 customer service centers, having those employees in the field, there's one thing, as Jean mentioned, the robust strategy and campaign that we're using, with the marketing strategy, but nothing beats that one-on-one interaction. And we're really going to step up our efforts over the next coming weeks and into January. But the removal of the machines themselves was a big nudge in getting people over the finish line, and which helped us get to the 94 adoption rate.
And we're plastering all the local airports to get the tourists all the information they need. So thank you both. Melva.
Really quickly, I love to hear about your outreach efforts, especially getting customers where they are in multi different ways. People receive information differently from different sources, so I really appreciate that. Also appreciated seeing President Critchlow at the Robert Couch Senior Center, where my mom worked for 26 years, which means I worked for 26 years, because every summer I had to volunteer there. But you can't go to every senior center. You can't go to every community board. So I'm just curious to understand or hear how you're integrating those civic groups into the outreach, because the one-on-one, also like peer sort of advertisement is really important. And how are you using those mechanisms to get the word out?
So, we are using, have leveraged all of our tools within the system and across, the bus network. But with the partnership of the wonderful Lucille, who is, heading up our government and relations team, with President Critchlow and everyone else, deploying folks across the network. We have a list of nonprofits and community-based organizations that we are constantly reaching out with and asking them to invite us in, whether it's during the lunch hours at senior centers or different watering holes, to again tout that the MetroCard is retiring and getting those folks comfortable with the transition, whether it's, for the MetroCard or any other MTA related concerns. So we are broadening our reach, and Lucille is lockstep with all our efforts. So we look forward to building on that next year.
I'd love to work with her to think about, especially Queens, but just anything around the civic engagement piece, I'm happy to lend my expertise.
So just one other thing. What we found is generally with that population, you could go and have a discussion and then walk away, and it's like you didn't have a discussion. So the no. Let me clarify. Let me clarify.
No,
Let me clarify.
He didn't mean it like that.
So transitioning from MetroCard to Omni can be difficult.
Yeah.
And so what we've done, we've taken our MetroCard vans and we've taken them to the senior centers. So it's not just having that discussion with them and then they have to go to an agent and deal with it at another time.
Right.
Literally, they can walk outside of the senior center
And buy 'em.
and have that interaction. Yeah.
And to build on that, I love seniors, so I joined Demetrius's comment. But that goes in line with every customer engagement. Again, as you said, you can go out and do a presentation and talk about it, but nothing beats having the service readily available. So that applies to the mobile unit, when we go out and promote fair fares, we have employees from the city on site to sign people up immediately. So those are strategies that have bode well and have showed to be successful.
Great. Andrew, and then Midori.
So I think this is all great, but the complaints that I hear, and I think what would make it a much easier sell to people is if, and I guess this lays on Cubic ultimately, is if the Omni card gave similar messaging on the screens that you could easily find out, you know, you have 1 or 2 rides left till you have a free ride. Congratulations, you earned your free ride. This is your balance. Things of that nature. Transfer accepted, all these kinds of things. People feel a little antsy about using Omni without the information that they're so used to getting with MetroCard.
No, completely agree. And you know, we all see it, we hear it, we experience it. And those are sort of improvements that will be coming in the near future. I mean, it is not lost on, you know, anyone in this building that we are constantly meeting, to get this right, and meeting with the vendor to ensure that these features and functions are in place for customer, reassurance and credibility.
And is the vendor giving you pretty much assurance that you're going to get these things eventually?
Yes, but we're working to prioritize,
Right.
the different, all of these improvements, because they can't, unfortunately, happen all at once.
Andrew, we're getting briefed at 3 o'clock, so please join. Midori.
So second everything that Commissioner Alpert just said. Really appreciate that. And so Shanifa and Jean, you're really important here. So thank you so much for being in this spot in this time, because what we're talking about is change. And humans, we don't like to change. And so, Demetrius, I appreciate what you said about the MetroCard and kind of the journey that it takes. We will now be undergoing a new journey. So while I appreciate, we've been continually getting briefed on the metrics of adoption rates, really important. Jan 1, we're it. That's the monopoly. So adoption rates are important, but then I would love to either partner with you or would love to hear from you all, not construction and development, not New York City, although New York City Transit really matters here, but like from a customer UX perspective, what are the new metrics that now we need to think about when it comes to Omni? Because yes, adoption rate will still matter, but, maybe it's complaint rate and maybe it's types of complaints. I'm not sure, I leave it to your expert minds from a customer perspective. How do we know Omni is doing well? Last month, of course, we heard from dozens of people that they're struggling a little bit with Omni. Anytime we make change, there's going to be struggles, there's going to be hiccups. I also just want to make sure there's budget for that, operations-wise, to make sure that we are staffed, that we are getting the things we need from vendors, because we can't just assume that that there won't be issues, because there will be, because you are all launching the biggest new fare payment system in North America, Jan 1, right? And you've been launching it already. I was part of the agency when we were initially, starting to launch it. So it's so important. It's so big. You're doing the biggest thing in the United States right now when it comes to fare payments. So thank you. No pressure. But this is where we can help. How can we support you? How can we support New York Transit? How can we support you all in making sure that you're also hearing from customers? Because I hear from my family and friends all the time about their complaints, but also about how it's great, how it's seamless, And so we'd just love to put that second out there to support your team and what you need to deliver the system.
Yep, I appreciate the support. And while adoption rate, it's one of the metrics, but as you can understand, we do get a lot of incoming, and feedback from our customers, and that is something that, as a leader, push for, to find out how it's going, how is it working, how we can improve and build upon that. So that is our team's driving force, as well as the feedback loop. If someone, expresses a complaint or a concern, making sure that that is resolved, making sure that the wait time at the call center remains as low as possible, and really resolving issues in real time and leaning on other parts of the agency that, that sort of shoulders those dependencies to always put the customer first. So that is an ongoing, initiative and that we are embarking on. And I thank, you and the rest of the board members for your support and look forward to the conversation this afternoon.
David.
Yeah, I'm wondering, it's January 1st, and I'm particularly worried about the unbanked who come and how we're going to train our staff to deal with that problem. Somebody who doesn't, has not been aware of everything, a part of this, 6% who haven't come, but particularly those who don't carry credit cards, don't have a bank account. How will we deal with that? All I have is, I have my Metro card still. How will that be handled?
So we're going to deal with that in many ways. One piece is that we are amplifying the retail network. We don't want our customers to assume that they have to come to a subway station to get an Omni card or physical card. We have thousands of retailers that are selling the card and loading them. So, we're going to push out a lot of communication around that. And, when it comes to the top of the year, again, with the station agents who are amazing at what they do day in and day out during this transition, we will also have a layer of ambassadors. We don't assume, yes, you're right, there will be that person that will show up at the top of the year, unclear or did not know the MetroCard is retired, and we will have additional frontline staff on hand to walk those folks through the transition.
Thank you very much to the two of you, and look forward to the conversation this afternoon. The last item before we take our picture with our Transit All-Stars is Lou. You're going to give us information on procurements. We're going to vote on two.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon. The New York City Transit procurement package includes two items this month. The first is a request that the board approve the purchase of 100 additional low-floor 40-foot clean diesel buses from Nova Bus in the estimated amount of $97.6 million. Included are diagnostic tools, manuals, training, technical documentation, and spare parts. The base contract was the result of a competitively negotiated RFP for the purchase of 275 low-floor 40-foot diesel-electric hybrid buses, which was split between Nova Bus, this contractor, and New Flyer. Nova Bus was awarded a contract for 165 hybrid buses, which included options to purchase up to 558 additional buses. They could be unilaterally exercised by the authority. Contract modifications to purchase additional buses was subsequently awarded to Nova Bus for a total of 508 option buses, 126 hybrid, and 382 clean diesel. The 100 buses which are the subject of this modification will replace buses that are beyond their 12-year useful life. When approaching Nova Bus about exercising the remaining 50 buses, Nova Bus indicated that it had production capacity at the end of 2026 for additional clean diesel buses. New York City Transit decided to take advantage of this unforeseen opportunity and purchase an additional 50 buses, giving its urgent need to replace buses. The additional buses the 50 additional buses are the subject of an immediate operating need. Nova Bus will deliver the 100 clean diesel buses starting in Q1 2027 and concluding in Q2 2027. The price has been found to be fair and reasonable.
Lou, I'm confused.
Yes.
So is it 100 or 150, or 100 and the option to buy 50 more?
It's 50, that's the option that we
Oh.
had on the base contract.
then on top
And then
of
an
the 50.
additional 50 because of the opportunity to get 50
Okay,
additional
great.
buses.
Total 100.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. The last item is a request that the board ratify the declaration of an immediate operating need to approve the award of an emergency estimated quantity contract to furnish and install fare evasion turnstile sleeves and fins to Boyce Technologies. That's the company that provided all of the fins and sleeves that Demetrius mentioned earlier. We implemented a program, the MTA implemented a program to research, develop, and test new technologies. And a consultant was retained by C&D to design fare evasion hardware consisting of the sleeves and vertical fins. Prototypes were tested from 2 firms, and the Boyce products were the ones that were approved. Procurement did an additional outreach to 8 additional firms, and Boyce was the only company that was configured and able to keep up with the demand for the provision and the installation in the time frame. The total estimated amount of this contract is $7.3 million, and we received a 10% reduction from Boyce, resulting in a savings of approximately $800,000. I submit these procurements for board approval.
Lou, I thought we did the whole thing about the fare evasion stuff a while ago. No?
Well, we actually, under an immediate operating need, were able to make the award because of the urgency.
Okay.
We actually awarded the contracts, and as Demetrius indicated, there's a very, very large number that have been installed.
Right.
This is the ratification of that award.
Oh, so we did it without having it?
We declared an emergency, right,
Okay.
because of the fare evasion.
Okay.
Right? We received internal approval to go forward with it.
And interval up to a certain amount, or?
No, up to whatever was required for this.
Okay.
And we had an estimate, obviously.
Okay.
And this is the provision for this immediate operating need indicates that we would seek board ratification as opposed to approval.
At the
So this
end.
is the ratification
Right.
after the fact.
And it's only 7.3 million?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. But, David Madori?
I'm wondering, are we starting to collect statistics on how impactful they have been? So we know. I know I hear some of it, but I'm wondering if we regularly can alert the public and the rest. And my second question, which is, I'm sure, only a minor thing, other attempts at fare evasion devices have actually led to injury of people trying to get over these things. Are we collecting data on people injuring? I know there was a young man who died with one of the earlier, obviously it's a little too much to die for fare evasion, but I'm wondering if this might accelerate it in some way. And do we actually know about that in terms of our use of these devices?
I'll defer, Demetrius.
Absolutely, the types of fare evasion are definitely being recorded. We have in various stations, we have equipment that looks at each of the types of fare evasion. It was one of the ways that we were able to reduce fare evasion is saying how many people are going through the gate, how many people are stepping over the turnstile, how many people are jumping the turnstile, and then we created specific ways to target those for improvement. So that data is still being churned. We're actually seeing a reduction in each and every type of fare evasion, which we can certainly share with this board at another time. We can see even at some of the large locations when we immediately introduce a type of fare counter to fare evasion, you see that reduce. You may see a shift in how the fare evasion happens, like there may be more people that go in through the gate at this time. Or you may see more people now going under the turnstile, climbing literally belly style underneath the turnstile. But you can actually see at that type of fare evasion. It's pretty amazing to see the types of fare evasion. And then the other thing is about the injuries. That I'm not sure of. We are definitely tracking the evasions, but I can't comment specifically on injuries tied.
I think it would be important to know. Obviously, it's a little too much that we can. That when something like that, an injury occurs, that we start to report it. So we might potentially modify something or whatever it is. I'm just worried that having a long time ago been a teenager, you can do some really stupid things. Okay.
Choice words from Commissioner Jones. I love that. So, Luke, can you remind us again? So this is an emergency. This was ratification for an emergency immediate operating need. When did you brief the board that this had happened, or when did you award the contract?
We awarded the contract about 2 months ago, a month ago.
So that is
and I don't recall
November
if we-
or October.
I don't recall if we formally briefed we didn't brief the board from a procurement standpoint, but I
No
believe the board.
information item or anything like that?
No, but I believe the board was briefed through updates on the program itself.
Yes, I have been briefed on the Fair Vision program. I just don't remember. And when did the MTA declare an emergency that allowed for this kind of emergency ratification?
I don't have the date in front of me, but I can get back to you with that.
Okay, I just think it's so one of our, obviously our roles as a board is to approve procurements. There are very few transit agency boards that don't approve of procurements for the board, and so whenever we're using that, I just want to be judicious about that. So thank you, appreciate that.
Melva.
A lot of questions.
Yeah.
So is this Boyce Technology headquartered in Long Island City, Queens?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's it.
Good, local. Just in case something happens, they're there. I love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay. So with that, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve both the procurements that Lou just second, JR. All those in favor? Aye. Abstentions? Noes?
I'd like to abstain.
From both of them?
No, for the emergency.
For the voice
Yeah,
contract?
not the buses.
Not the buses.
The voice, yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Make note of that. All those in favor? Aye. With the abstention, motion carried. Motion to adjourn the transit meeting. And take a picture with the All-Stars, don't go far too far. Okay, second motion, all right. Thank you. Kate, where's the schedule?